On your seminar page, do the first 5 questions. If you're in class, we're going to go over them in class. If you're working way ahead, just do them to get your prior knowledge activated. And what we're going to be looking at today is we're going to identify points, lines, and planes. We'll define what they are. And we're going to look at intersections of lines and planes. Now, geometry is one of the few subjects, and one of the reasons I like teaching geometry, it starts from the beginning. Whereas when you take algebra, you got some prior knowledge from arithmetic, and you got other things. We're going to start from the very, very beginning. And the very beginning, we go back and we have 3 undefined terms. Now, why do we call them undefined? Because there's not a concise definition like there is for other terms we're going to look at. There's a common understanding, but we have some leeway in there. Now, our first one is a point. What is a point? A point is a location in space. The reason it's undefined, we don't say how big it is. The planet Earth could be a point on the solar system, but when we look closer, then it'd be a sphere. And if we look at the city of Watertown, it's a point on the map of the United States. But if you look at a map of Cottington County, then we are an irregular polygon. So it all depends on the size. We name a point by a capital letter. So capital is important. Lowercase letter is a line down here. A line has 2 points and it goes through it. That's all it is. Most of the time we name it by 2 points on there. The order doesn't matter. You could have PQ or QP here with the line symbol above it. And like I said, we could do a lowercase letter. Now, if I take 3 points that are not in a line, that's the important part, they're not in a line, we call that a plane. A plane is a flat surface that goes on forever and ever. So your paper is part of a plane. Your table is part of a plane. The wall is part of a plane. We name it by a capital cursive letter or the 3 points that are not in a row. And that once again, it doesn't matter how big it is because it goes on forever, so the order you put them in does not matter. If you name it by 4 points or 5 points, it's not wrong, it's just kind of redundant. You only need 3. And like I said, space is everything, okay? It's not just a single plane, it's all the planes, all the lines, everything that's out there. Now, the word co means same. So when you see the word co, that means same. Your co-worker is a worker who works at the same place you do. So collinear are points that lie on the same line. That's all it is. Collinear, they lie on the same line. Then the opposite of that, non-collinear, would be points that do not lie on the same line. Okay? So I'll give you an example here. A, B, and C are collinear. But if I throw in point D, then D is not collinear with those. And the same thing goes with coplanar. Coplanar are points that lie on the same plane. Non-coplanar would be points that do not lie on the same plane. Now, I gave you an example here of coplanar, but I didn't give you an example of non-coplanar. So if I have a point that's not on my plane, let's call this point A. A is not in plane S. It's above it for a sec. Kind of hard to do a plane on a two-dimensional sheet of paper. But let's say plane S is my flat sheet, so A would be above it. Now let's take a look at an example here. I want to name the following. I want to name a line containing point Q. Now, to me, the simplest way is to name it by the lowercase letter. That would be C. You can name it by 2 letters on that line. So it could be TR, or it could be RQ, or QT. I'm not going to list them all, but we got that. Don't name it CT though, because C is the name of the line, as T is a point. Now I want to name a point containing points S and T. So my plane, S and T, notice that contains plane A. And so when we name that plane, I'll use a cursive letter. People forget how to write cursive. So there's capital A. I could also name it by 3 points in that plane that are not on the same line. So I could name it S, T, and R. We usually don't put a symbol in front of it because it just means anytime you have a plane, it means the same thing. Don't name it S, T, and A because A is the name of the plane. Okay? Don't name it TRQ because they're collinear, and that's not a plane. They have to be 3 points not on the same plane. And if we look at this example, I want to look at and find my undefined terms in this shape. So the cover of the notebook would be a plane. And remember I said you only need 3 letters to name it, so we could say like JKN. That would be a plane. The pen would be a line. So my line, got to charge my iPad here, my line would be like line PQ. And my point would be like your coin, a location. So my point would be M. Now the intersection of 2 shapes is the set of points they have in common. So 2 lines intersect in a point. Two planes can intersect each other, and probably the easiest way to show that is if like I have a box. This box would be composed of 6 planes, and my intersection of my vertical plane and my horizontal plane. That is the intersection of, let's work on this together, of the left side and the top side would be this line right here. And we'll do the rest in the next video.